Hi, it's me, Tracy, your literary companion. This month began with a tale of a tragic monster, a satire on Gothic novels. There was a dash of fantasy romance, some Japanese art and aesthetics, the mechanics of poetry, as well as the fun of life and love seen through a manga lens. October reading had it all. I hope you will grab your cozy cup and join me for my monthly reading wrap-up. Just a moment before we talk about all of the books, I wanted to say a big thank you to all of you. I am so glad that my most recent video, Books Like a Cup of Tea, really resonated with so many hearts. It was just such a delight to meet you in the comments and have a conversation about some really great literature. So I will be returning to a similar theme since there were requests for more. And I will be offering a winter reading list as well, a special video for that. So that will be coming up as pretty soon. I wanted to also just say a big thank you to all of the new subscribers. I am thrilled that you are here, and I look forward to getting to know you and your reading taste as well. I'm really just glad that you are here, whether you have just subscribed or you've been with me here for quite a while. I really thank you so much. As I often do with a reading wrap-up, I will begin with some fiction. At the top of October, I had the great pleasure of a buddy read of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, along with my lovely friend, Laurika Bretherton. Thank you so much, Laurika, for joining me in this reading, and I'm just so glad that we had each other to lean on while reading this story, because, my goodness, what a powerful tale this is. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Many of us know this story. Published in 1818, written by Mary Shelley at the very tender age of 18, which is incredibly remarkable. This is considered a foundational work of science fiction, one of the first science fiction works, possibly fantasy as well, if we think about it. And this is told through letters of the Arctic explorer Robert Walton to his sister, and it recounts Victor Frankenstein's tragic story. He is a young scientist obsessed with creating life, of harnessing life, and he assembles a being, a creature, from body parts and brings it to life through mysterious means. Horrified by his own creation, Victor abandons it, leaving the creature to suffer in isolation and rejection. Its pain and loneliness turns to anger, sparking a cycle of revenge that destroys Victor and his family and ultimately leads to both of their demises. Victor encounters the creature once again, and yet again, the creature is dismissed by Frankenstein, abandoned to exist in loneliness. The novel explores ambition, responsibility, and isolation, what it means to be a human, ultimately, and what we do for each other, how we care for each other, or not. Shelley warns against scientific hubris without empathy and shows how neglect and lack of compassion can turn something innocent, an idea, to tragedy. This was my first time reading this classic novel, and my thoughts about the story were likely tainted by the film adaptation. Some adaptations often offer a misleading, overdone portrayal of a mad scientist and an equally mad creature. And there are some that just have a lot of strange humor that make it seem almost a parody. I will be curious about the upcoming film adaptation. I believe it is out already as I'm filming this. The book gave me a lot more sympathy for the creature than for Victor Frankenstein, whose repeated failures and abandonment of his creature just amplified the story's sorrow. It is such a sorrowful, somber, affecting, harrowing, and thought-provoking tale. Dark, but unforgettable. I don't think I could read this. I don't think I could read this again, but I'm really glad that I read it. Thank you so much again, Laurika. I'm just so glad that we plucked up the courage to try this one and try it together. I will leave Laurika's links in the description box so that you can meet her if you haven't already, and to watch her excellent video reviewing Frankenstein and her thoughts about the reading experience of it, as well as some really great information about Mary Shelley. In October, my Regency reading Jane Austen selection was Northanger Abbey. And here we follow Catherine Morland, a sweet but naive 17-year-old with a love and passion for Gothic novels. Invited to the fashionable city of Bath, she meets the charming Henry Tilney, his sister Eleanor, and the very socially ambitious Isabella Thorpe. Catherine's vivid imagination leads her to suspect very dark secrets and mysteries at the Tilneys' family estate, Northanger Abbey, where she is invited to stay. Her fanciful theories and notions are gently corrected by Henry Tilney, though. The novel follows Catherine as she learns to balance her imagination with reality and to navigate social pretensions and recognize the true characters of people, their true character. And that also includes herself as well. Henry Tilney's father, General Tilney, dismisses Catherine for her lack of wealth and social connections. Despite some initial setbacks, Henry defies his father and is reunited with Catherine, and he proposes marriage to her, which she happily accepts. Ultimately, we have a coming-of-age story as we watch Catherine grow away from the flights of fanciful youth, it becoming and growing more of the mature woman, being grounded as she anticipates the next phase of her life as a married woman. This is one of Jane Austen's most playful novels, I think. The story presents some really interesting contrasts between fanciful romantic notions, as I said at the beginning, as well as some rather harsh realities of life. There's this really interesting balance between the two of those. And Catherine's journey highlights the dangers when we allow imagination to distort our perception, as well as the importance of balancing idealism with practicality. It is a satire on Gothic fiction, and not the least social pretensions, which Austen is always so clever at highlighting. She is so good at the differentiations between people, classes, social situations, social institutions, and it's an honest critique of the superficiality of society, and particularly obsessions with wealth and status. And I believe that some of the core themes of this novel are conscious awareness of people, of situations, and seeking the truth of people, the truth of the heart of all things, as well as the virtues of integrity, kindness, generosity, of spirit, very generous spirit, and not the least love. Next month in November, I will be having another Regency period selection, and that will be Bram Stoker's Dracula. And I will be reading Dracula for the first time, leaning into the spooky season. Though I greatly enjoyed reading some classics this month, I needed a bit of a palate cleanser, especially after Frankenstein. So I turned to Wanted, Brooding Man, Tragic Past by Lydia Foxglove, where we meet Una, who dreams of a romance with a tall, dark, handsome hero, who possibly also has a limp. Tragic story there. But when she discovers that the once cheerful Vari, her co-worker at the bookshop where she works, that he has survived the recent war. She begins to question her romantic notions and ideals and what love really means, where her heart really belongs. Set in Lydia Foxglove's cozy, gothic, hidden lands fantasy world, this is such a charming tale of love, self-discovery, and finding beauty that is beyond the surface of things. This story has a bit of a nod to Northanger Abbey, which was why I followed up with this one after reading Northanger Abbey. So it was just great to enjoy these back to back, and it was just so much fun. I've read many of Lydia Foxglove's books and have enjoyed all of them. Earlier in the spring, I read the Potion Dealers and The Broken Queen. I really loved The Broken Queen, both set in Lydia Foxglove's Hidden Lands world, which is a really complex realm with different tribes of peoples and beings, their histories, very quirky characters, very funny banter and dialogue, with a lot of focus on relationships. Oftentimes there is romance, but it's rather secondary sometimes in some of the stories. But also a really nice complementary part of the stories as well. I can also recommend Lydia Foxglove's book, Doll Girl Meets Dead Guy, if you need even more quirky fantasy romance fun, and especially now with Halloween coming up. My dip into poetry this month had more of a nonfiction lean this time. The Heart of Haiku by Jane Hirshfield, the wonderful poet Jane Hirshfield. This is more of a shorter work, more of an essay really, that was in an e-book format. And this explores the life, art, and influence of the Japanese poet Matsuo Basho, who transformed haiku from a simple verse form to something that was a very profound form of expression, exploring what it is to be human and our connection with nature through words. Haiku is such a wonderful form of poetry, a very short format of poetry with only 17 syllables. And in Western forms, this is often broken up into 3 written lines. Hirshfield explores how Basho emphasized clarity, awareness, and presence, turning ordinary moments like a frog jumping out of water from a pond, into something that is a very deep, reflectful experience on our existence. That this long essay highlights Basho's spiritual journey and his beliefs that poetry should connect the poet ultimately to the world. That haiku is a way of paying attention, the most greatest form of that love. That form is love, that great paying attention. Hirshfield is one of my favorite poets, and I love when she writes on the craft of poetry, which is something I'm always learning more about. And I was reading this alongside of her classic essay collection, 9 Gates, Entering the Mind of Poetry, where she examine the roots of the craft of poetry. It is such great stuff, and I've been enjoying rereading that. So just digging into the craft of poetry this month, along with reading some classic Japanese poetry too. This autumn, I've been doing a course of independent study, which includes learning the Japanese language, as well as adding Japanese cultural studies to the mix. I read a few books related to my studies during October, but I thought that I would just share 2 particularly exceptional books. I won't share all of the books all the time, but there were 2 books that I read this month that were just really exceptional as part of my studies this month, which had the focus of Japanese art and aesthetics. Kimono, The Art and Evolution of Japanese Fashion, with text by textile historian Anna Jackson. This visually splendid book features some 200 photographs from the Kalili collection, a very important collection of kimonos, ranging from formal kimonos to semi-formal and informal garments as well. This collection, the Kalili collection, shows beautiful examples from the 1800s through to the mid-20th century. The kimono is one of the most iconic forms of Japanese culture and aesthetics. Its very basic, classic T shape with straight seams and wrap front style has changed remarkably very little over the centuries and even still remains quite the same. But different methods for producing fabric, visual imagery, embroidery, cross-cultural references have subtly influenced the kimono over time. It is really quite fascinating. This wonderful book chronicles the role of the kimono, a garment in the daily life of culture, the Japanese cultural, social changes over time, history, and global changes as well. How much a garment can be and do. Also, as part of my Japanese cultural studies, I read the book Landscapes for Small Spaces, Japanese Courtyard Gardens with Text and Photography by Katsuhiko Mizuno. This book is largely of photographs of beautiful, beautiful places in Kyoto, what was once the ancient capital of Japan. Here, the Tsuboniwa, the courtyard garden, is elevated by bringing nature into an enclosed space to be viewed from an indoor space, which also offers light and ventilation as well as great beauty, bringing nature in. Shade-loving plants, dwarf trees, moss, rocks, lanterns, stone basins for ritual hand washing, and more, bring the very tactile elements of nature into homes, office spaces, shops, restaurants, temples, shrines, and more spaces. This book is such a visual feast, showcasing this very special gardening style that through the different seasons and with a variety of plants and materials really creates an impactful experience of nature. It is a visual delight and a really inspiring resource. This is wonderful if you are a gardener. This month, I enjoyed a lot of good manga. Spy Family, Volume 14, with the art and story by Tatsuya Endo, number 14, available in English now, as well as A Business Proposal, Volume 2. This was so much fun. As well as A Sign of Affection, Volume 5. I enjoyed such a lot of manga this month. And I have to say that the all manga video I shared a few weeks ago was quite the flop. I knew going into that one that it was going to be a little bit of an experiment. I don't know how much manga I will continue to share here on the videos, but I know that some of you do enjoy manga, so I will share them in the post section. In a kind of a month wrap-up of manga there. And if you would like to see more of the manga series I read in the month of October, you will see all about that in my most recent post. So please check that out if you would like to see more about manga. For a little bit of news and other updates, I wanted to thank you all who took part in the poll that I posted in the post section a couple of weeks ago. I really appreciate that you took the time to do that, and I'm grateful for your feedback. And I do have to say that I was a little bit surprised by some of the results. Many of you expressed interest in seeing more videos about my life here in Norway, little glimpses of daily life out and about here. Interestingly, that actually ranked slightly higher than some of my book and reading related videos, which I didn't expect that. Most of my lifestyle videos have received much less engagement compared to the book related content, and that is partly why I have not shared a lifestyle video in a little while. What didn't surprise me, however, was the low interest in the read with me or study with me videos. After my first few of those types of videos did very well, I've noticed a continual drop in the viewership of those. These received less engagement. So going forward, I'm not sure that I will continue with that content here. They take a lot of time to film, edit, and produce. My husband TJ creates and tailors music to those videos, so with less engagement, it maybe makes little sense to continue doing those. I did briefly wonder if perhaps sharing the Read With Me videos, maybe that could be something that I could share on Patreon or a similar platform, along with perhaps starting a book club. But I'm not sure if there is enough interest here or if the community here is big enough for something like that at this point. Please share your thoughts. For now, I will continue to focus on primarily book-related content with maybe some occasional glimpses of life here in Norway sprinkled in. As always, I really would love to hear what you would like to continue watching here, what you really enjoy, and other ways that you might like to connect, and what you might think about a Patreon platform or a book club. In other news, a little bit behind the scenes of life here, we adopted a new fur friend. As I filmed 2 weeks ago, we welcomed home a lovely 3-year-old little girl kitty cat. We've named her Moochie. Short and sweet, just like our favorite Japanese treats. She is very shy, and we are still very much in the getting to know phase. She likes to hide a lot, so I don't have her on video yet. Just a picture to share for now. And look at her funny nose, her little funny nose mustache. Well, she could be making an appearance here, maybe sooner than we think. After losing our sweet kitty Luna earlier this year, it is now wonderful having a floofy furry friend in our life again. It is a joy to share good reading, and the books this month really did remind me about why I love reading, how books can make us think and feel and grow, and just how amazing it is to try a new book, to pick up something different and expand our horizons through the pleasure of reading. Please let me know what you have been reading this month, and if any of these titles struck your fancy, what you might be adding to your TBR. If you don't have time to leave a note in the comments, please leave me a teacup emoji or a book emoji to let me know that you were here and enjoyed this episode. And if you haven't subscribed already, please do. I would love for you to join our little community. Well, my tea has gone cold and the stack of books is done for this month. Thank you so much for sharing some time with me and reading. Until next time, I wish you happy reading, and as always, I wish you much love and many blessings. I will see you again here very soon with more tea and book conversation.